This calamitous and mysterious change that is coming over us has to be understood. 100 years ago, we bought and we sold in accordance with the Sunnah, in accordance with the Quran. We used real money. We used money ordained by Allah. We use the money ordained in the Quran. Dinar is in the Quran. Dirham is in the Quran. And so long as we use real money, money which is in the Sharia, even the Mufti knows that, but he wouldn't say it. They could not control us. They could not attack us. Today Russia is being attacked with economic sanctions. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you to use trade and business as a weapon. Shame on you. This is the voice of the world of Islam saying, shame on you, because we are not like that. Not in Islam. We do not use trade, and we do not use business as a weapon. No, not in Islam. We stand for a free and a fair market, with no privileges for anyone. No Muslim has an advantage over a non-Muslim in our market, not in trade. No. We can even trade with the enemy while at war with the enemy, but not in weapons of war. That is Islam. The greatest achievement of modern Western civilization today is economic sanctions. So the Russian ruble is now collapsing. When I was in Moscow last year, it was about 33 rubles to $1 US. It has now gone down to about 38 rubles to the US dollar. In Indonesia, it is about how much? 10,000? 11,000 rupiah to $1. In Turkey, it fell to about 4 million liras to $1. This bogus, this fraudulent, this utterly haram monetary system which has come from the Zionist West. And I have studied the subject. Let me say to you, I have studied the subject. This bogus, this fraudulent, this utterly haram monetary system of paper, plastic and electronic money is an instrument of slavery. As the value of the money falls, and they can attack your money anytime they want. Ask Dr. Mahathir and he'll tell you. And when they attack your money, your value of your money is going to fall. And as the value of the money falls, there is a disease that then attacks you and paralyzes you. It's called inflation. But turn to gold dinar and silver dirham, and there is no such thing as inflation. Never was, never will be. They know that. And as inflation attacks you, it destroys you, it paralyzes you. That's where we are today. While the scholars of Islam are drinking teh tarik and eating roti canai, we are now imprisoned in a monetary system designed by those who want to enslave us.
Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who have faith in Allah, La tattakhidhu al-yahuda wal-nasara awliya. Don't take them as your friends and allies who ba'duhum awliya'u ba'd. An alliance of Jews and Christians. When that Jewish-Christian alliance emerges, do not turn to them with friendship and alliance. وَمَا يَتَوَلَّهُ مِنْكُمْ فَإِنَّهُ مِنْهُمْ. Whosoever from amongst you turn to them with friendship and alliance, you belong to them. Inna Allah la yahdi al-qawma adh-dhalimin. They are a wicked people. And Allah does not provide guidance for a wicked people. This is how we began the lecture. That Jewish-Christian alliance has now emerged in history. It is the Zionist Jews and Zionist Christians who have reconciled and made friendship and alliance. And they are the ones who control power in the United States of America. They control, and they boast of it, we control the United States. They control Britain, the power in Britain. They control power in France. They control power in the Western world, what is called Western civilization. They are the ones who have NATO as a military arm. And they are the ones who have a mysterious messianic agenda. They want to rule the world. They want to establish the political dominion, the economic dominion, the monetary dominion over all of mankind. That's what they want to do. That's arrogance. But not all Christians are like that. And not all Jews are like that. No. These are the Christians and the Jews of modern Western civilization. Russia is not a part of Western civilization, no. And Allah warns us in the Quran, don't take them as your friends and allies. Don't enter into their embrace, and that is precisely what happened. This is the people, this is the civilization which were empowered by a scientific and technological revolution, and applied that scientific and technological revolution to military science, and they gained a military power unique in all of human history, and they used that military power to oppress. At the point of a naked bloody sword, they went to conquer the world. What is Britain doing in Britain? A little island called Britain. What is Britain doing controlling the whole of India? Tell me. Huh? And Britain is in China, and Britain is here, and Britain, the sun never sets on the British Empire. Why? Why this mysterious colonization of the world? Answer, they want to rule the whole world. And one of the strategies which they employ to establish their dominion over mankind is to change the money. To remove the money that Allah has ordained, dinar and dirham, to prohibit the use of gold as money, which is shirk. Are you hearing me? Did you hear what I say? It is shirk. It is blasphemy. Every Christian knows the meaning of blasphemy. Every Jew knows the meaning of blasphemy. When a Muslim uses the term blasphemy, it is shirk, to prohibit what Allah has permitted. And Allah has permitted gold as money, and they prohibit the use of gold as money. That's what they did in the International Monetary Fund. The Articles of Agreement prohibit the use of gold as money. So you can't use a dinar as money anymore. And by implication, since you can't use dinar, you can't use dirham. This is blasphemy. And whosoever follows them in that shirk also become party to the shirk. This is the monetary system which they created, and the second lecture explained that monetary system based on shirk. Based on shirk. And they use that monetary system with indescribable hatred and animosity and hostility for Muslims. That's what they are. And use that monetary system to exploit, to rip off, and to oppress, and finally to enslave people. And so today we find a world of Islam, and also the rest of mankind who are not supporting them, miserably poor, enslaved. And it's because you take paper and you give to that paper a fictitious value, no intrinsic value. And that fictitious value is such that when they print the paper, it's called hard currency. And once their paper is in demand, they can give a high value to it and they can print as much as they want. And so they could buy the whole world free of charge. You could buy the whole world free. General Charles de Gaulle, not a Muslim leader, no, a French leader. He recognized this to be unjust. And he stood up in the French National Assembly and he denounced this unjust monetary system in 1966. And the Zionists came after him and they removed him. Yes. But then the successors to Charles de Gaulle continued to attack the system until finally in 1971 the United States had to give up and they abandoned the US dollar being redeemable in gold. And so the entire monetary system has absolutely no links with gold anymore. It is 100% haram. And then we showed how from 1971 to 1973, the US dollar was in no man's land. I know you're listening to me, I'm talking about this again and again and again and again, so please bear with me. Why? Because there are others who can't hear and others who don't want to hear. So we have to repeat again and again and again and again. If you're fed up of listening to me, go listen to somebody else. But I have to keep on repeating for those who cannot hear and for those who don't want to hear. They're afraid to hear. Then Charles de Gaulle, his successors caused them to, the system collapsed in 1971. Then 1971 to 1973, the US dollar was in no man's land. And then in 1974, because of the Arab-Israeli war, they hit the jackpot with the birth of the petrodollar. I explained this in the last lecture, that the US dollar is now His Majesty the petrodollar, and that this petrodollar was prophesied by Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam in a hadith that we'll quote shortly. When the Arabs agreed with Henry Kissinger to his demand that we sell oil for only USD, which is haram, but they didn't understand what is haram. Then the petrodollar was born. And there was no limit now to the amount of petrodollars you could print. You could print as much as you want. There's no Charles de Gaulle to stop you anymore. No one can raise a finger because the system has no links whatsoever with gold. The link is now with oil thanks to the Arabs. The petrodollar is born. And then we showed how they use this system, monetary system, to consolidate their power, to be able to use this newfound wealth, which is of course fictitious wealth, to empower the banking system now to eventually take over. They want the money to expand and expand and expand and expand. When will the balloon burst? When the balloon bursts, not only will the US dollar collapse, but Brexit means that the euro will also collapse. That's why you had Brexit. So the entire world of paper money will collapse. No single money in the world will be able to survive. The Malaysian ringgit cannot survive independently. No. The Pakistani rupee cannot survive. The Egyptian pound cannot survive. The Indonesian rupiah cannot survive. None can survive because they're all interdependent. So when the US dollar collapses, when the balloon bursts, one day it'll have to burst. It cannot expand indefinitely. The entire system will collapse. And they want it to collapse because they want to introduce another monetary system. Well, first of all, let us go back now to the hadith, which is in Sahih Bukhari. It's a very important hadith, a prophecy of Akhirul Zaman, in which Nabi Muhammad ﷺ prophesied that the river Euphrates will uncover a mountain of gold. You've heard it from me before. Others don't talk about it. I'm one of the few people who mention this hadith constantly, again and again. If you're fed up listening to me, go listen to somebody else. But I have to repeat it. The river Euphrates will uncover a mountain of gold. And people will fight for that gold. And 99 out of every 100 of the combatants would be killed. And everyone would say, I will be the one who will survive. But the Muslims, the believers, must not touch that gold. The Prophet said, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, that 99 out of every 100 of the combatants, that is, who fight in this war would be killed. This cannot therefore be conventional warfare. This would be a unique warfare in human history. There's never been a war like this before in human history. For the first time in human history, a war will take place in which 99% of those who fight will be killed. I hope the US Armed Forces listen to me. I hope the British Armed Forces listen to me, and the French Armed Forces listen to me, and the German Armed Forces listen to me, and the Singaporean Armed Forces listen to me. Don't listen to me, listen to the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Listen to him, because your life now depends on it. He said that 99% of those who fight in this war will be killed. That's what the Prophet said 1400 years ago. That war is around the corner. Not because Russia wants the war, no. That war is around the corner because they, the Zionists, the Judeo-Christian Zionist Alliance, which controls power in the United States and Britain and France and Germany, they want the war. They are lusting for that war. And the poor innocent people who have their brains brainwashed in all of these countries are being taken like cattle to the end. Because Russia says, Putin said it, President Putin said it, and we're proud of President Putin. He said, don't mess with nuclear Russia. There are those who don't like me because I praise President Putin, because I praise Russia. I say to them, the door is there, you can leave. Get out and just leave me alone. I don't need you. This is harsh language for you. I'm fed up of you. I'm proud of President Putin. He said, don't mess with nuclear Russia. Russia is not prepared to bend her knee to the Zionists. I wish we had governments in the world of Islam like that. President Hugo Chavez in Venezuela was like that, and he paid the price. Charles de Gaulle in France was like that, and he paid the price. Whoever stands up against them, pay the price. For Russia to stand up, Russia knows there's danger. Imagine that Russia says to them, we're not afraid of you. We'll not bend our knees to you. And the Russian people know that nuclear war is coming. The Russian people know that millions and millions and millions will die. And yet President Putin's ratings remain very high amongst the Russian people. They're not afraid to die. No, the war is coming. It's going to be a nuclear war. It's going to be a war with the use of weapons of mass destruction. Yes, for the first time in human history, this is the prophecy of Prophet Muhammad. Allah's blessings be upon him. And if the Russian people are not afraid to die, why should you be afraid to die? If a Christian is not afraid to die, why should a Muslim be afraid to die? No, we are not afraid to die. It is when this big war takes place, that perhaps the balloon will burst. We're not going to analyze the nuclear war at this time. We're only referring to it in the context of our lecture on money. Beyond the petrodollar, therefore, is a new kind of money which will not be money based on oil. What kind of money will it be? In Pax Britannica, it was the British pound. In Pax Americana, it was the US dollar. So, what kind of money will there be in this so-called Pax Judaica? Answer: electronic money, digital money. And I learned a new term now, it's called virtual money. Very cute terms, they coin. I used to think that fiat was just an Italian motor car until I heard it. There's something called fiat money. I don't know where they get these terms from, where they pick it up, like Arab Spring. So it's now going to be virtual money. Money that is invisible. You can't see it, you can't feel it, you can't touch it, no. Electronic money. And we will no longer have a multiplicity of currencies in the world. No, the idea is to get all of mankind under one government, one world government, so that one people can rule the world, and they can then transfer that power to the state of Israel, so that Israel become the ruling state in the world in succession to the United States. This is our eschatological explanation of the historical process. And then at the end of the day, someone will stand up in Israel and declare, I am the Messiah. I have been explaining this for 14, 15 years, or 16 years now in my book, Jerusalem in the Quran. Those who have read. When the nuclear war takes place, because they've already declared war on Russia. If you're living in France and Britain and in Western Europe, and if you don't know that your leaders have declared war on Russia, and the nuclear war is now inevitable, and when that nuclear war takes place, that thousands of nuclear weapons will explode. If you don't know that, then you are living in dreamland. And if you hope to survive in Western Europe, you're also living in dreamland. That's the price you pay for having Zionist rulers ruling over you. That's the price. I hope you're listening to me, Europe. I hope you're listening to me in Europe. And I hope you're listening to me in the United States and Canada. That is the price that you will pay for having those ruling over you, who are ruling on behalf of the Zionists, who are Zionists. And the nuclear war is now inevitable. The war which is coming, the big nuclear war which is coming, to which we'll refer subsequently, inshallah, is meant to deliver to Israel something called Pax Judaica, which will replace Pax Americana, which itself replaced Pax Britannica. That's why they want the big war. The war is coming because Russia is challenging their bogus monetary system, that's why. It's not because of Syria. It's not because of Ukraine. It's because of something called BRICS.